Tambo, Wanigae, Lamborole, Umilirangae, Wababa, Tambo, Gadua. Aka, ai, aka, ai, aka, ai, aka, ai, ai. Sambo, Eralgae, Wanigae, Ulambulole, Umilirangae, Ora Baba, Umile, Ulambulole, Eralgae, Wanigae, Sambo, Wagadua. Aka, ai, aka, ai, aka, ai, aka, ai. Tamo veralgae, wanigae, lambolole, umilerangae, oroa papa, umile, lambolole, tamo, ukaduae, wanigae, waulumbarare, umilerangae, mere tambor ukadoae anelae ulambololo omeleranae oroa baba tambor ukadoae anelae oroa baba omeleranae tambor ukadoae oroa baba mele ola bolole aka ai aka ai aka ai aka ai
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and a wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated. Distinguished guests and graduates, I would like to invite Uncle Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country.
Thank you. Budjimulilwul, everyone. Good morning. And Nalawa. Welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to firstly pay my respects to the country and its people, and to thank the university for their acknowledgement of us and the invitation to welcome you all here today. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated. My family, in fact, descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burraburungal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. So he enrolled his daughter, Bullangai, or Maria, into the Native Institute, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your success is our success. Your advancement, our advancement. Now that was probably better understood in traditional times when camp groups were smaller and clans abided by strict sharing laws, which meant the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we work together. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 250 years ago, he described the people he encountered as one of the happiest people he'd ever met. They owned nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, made their shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and fed their families from the earth without excessive tilling or clearing of the land. There was no slavery, no rich and poor, and no homelessness. Armies were unheard of, as were forts, jails, or even fences. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, which were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands are maintained in their natural state through fire and responsible harvesting. Our rivers and waterways kept clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them, as they have done here for the past 20 to 30,000 years. So this is not a dream and ideal for us. This is normal life, and for the longest time. And there is no good reason why we should accept less for ourselves and our families than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a lot more of us. However, we're a clever people, and there is still much magic within us, I like to believe. So graduates, I would say expect great and wonderful things from your life. Life is good, we are naturally happy, and normally very good at looking after each other and the planet. I would just suggest that you share your skills with the rest of us and keep following that beautiful spirit within you that got you this far. Do this, and I'm confident we can put together a world we can be proud of again, and a future that is worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine by winding up and letting you graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you, and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Yano.
I am now pleased to introduce Chancellor of Macquarie University, Dr. Martin Parkinson, AC.
Thank you, Chris. I've said it before and I'll say it hopefully many, many times again. You deliver such a warm and thoughtful welcome to country, and you honour us with your presence every time you do. So on behalf of everyone here, thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, the welcome to country we've just heard is a reminder of the long history of the land on which we meet, its custodians, the Darug people, and the charge they've given us to use this land well for teaching, learning and discovery. I always find it particularly fitting that we meet as a university on these lands, For we too are charged with fostering and sharing knowledge, just as elders have done since time immemorial. And as you'll see today, I think it is even more appropriate that we make this acknowledgement and pay our respects to elders of all Indigenous nations. So let me start by welcoming each and every one of you here to the Wallamatigal campus of Macquarie University. Most importantly though, I want to offer a warm and hearty congratulations to our graduates meeting today on this magnificent occasion of celebration. Completing a degree is never easy. It requires determination and perseverance, hard work and dedication to purpose. Every one of you should feel very proud of your accomplishments, and I can assure you that the university is very proud of everything that you've achieved. Many of you are fortunate enough to be here in the company of family and friends. For others of you, travel restrictions and distance mean that this may not have been possible. But for all of you, even in the most challenging moments of your study, these people, your family, your friends, your community, will have made your journey easier. So to all family and friends of our graduates, I say welcome. I see that we have a number of small children and even a few babies here today. I want you to know that you are especially welcome. I also want you to know that we don't expect young children to remain quiet. So the gentleman who took the young child out before, please, at the back, could you encourage him to come back in? It's impossible for small children to stay still or stay quiet, and we shouldn't expect that of them. I want them to feel especially welcome because we believe that all celebrations are enhanced by having all members of families involved. So run around, have a great time, make as much commotion as you like, and parents, pick up an early application form on the way out because they're our future graduates. To our graduating students, the support you've received is a reminder that while our individual efforts are very important, much of what we will achieve in our lives will happen because we support one another, because we work together, because we live together as a community. In short, if I paraphrase what Chris said to you, we truly are stronger together. It's important to maintain this commitment to mutual support, especially in times of great turbulence. And as we look around the world today, it is indeed a time of great turbulence. We see increasingly divergent political landscapes reflected in the rise of populism, authoritarianism, and a return to nation-state conflict. We see deliberate attempts by both state and non-state actors to sow disinformation, to undermine trust in science and reasoning in order to fracture communities. And we see a global community that's struggling to find common cause on the great challenges confronting humanity, whether it be mass migration to escape conflict and poverty, global health crises, or indeed climate change. Now, every generation thinks that the times they live in are particularly complex, but there's no doubt in my mind that the world we confront today is far different to that we've experienced in the last 75 years. How we as individuals, communities and countries navigate these challenges will be central to our shared prospects for peace and prosperity wherever we live. I hope that your education experience here at Macquarie and before Macquarie has strengthened your sense of the importance of working together for the betterment of our communities, our nation and our world. As you go out into the world as graduates of Macquarie University, your lives, though, will inevitably become preoccupied with the minutiae of life, of everyday living. It will be the importance of your relationships, your families, your jobs, and so on. But even when that's occurring, I'd urge you to keep an eye on key issues and ask yourself, how can we each play our part in navigating through times of great turbulence? What are our responsibilities as graduates and scholars to create a better world? How can we engage in dialogue as members of the Australian community or as members of communities of other countries, or indeed as members of the global community. Respectful engagement and constructive dialogue are central to solving the big problems that we face. So I'd urge you to draw on those skills and experiences you've gained here at Macquarie and through your entire education journey to participate fully in those discussions. We must all, as Chris said, be willing to share our skills and knowledge and to bring our expertise to the table. We must all be prepared to continue to intellectually grow, to be good listeners, to learn from others, and to respect a diversity of views. I encourage you, remain curious, be a lifelong learner. After all, as Mark Twain said, and I quote, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. Throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. In short, in my words, be optimistic, seek challenges, and take calculated risks. Accept that differences of opinion are inevitable, even amongst people who share similar motivation. Having a difference of view does not make someone else a bad person, though. Acknowledge that and commit yourself to working for the overall good. But to do that, though, one needs strength. And as the great African-American writer and Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison told another university gathering in 1996, and I quote, "Service to the individual, to the government, to the world, requires unwavering," and I emphasise that word, unwavering, commitment to intellectual freedom, to virtues already being debased by apathy or mindless rage, virtues of integrity, honour, faith, selflessness, and courage. These are wonderful words, and as you leave here, I urge you to remember them. Soon, it's going to be my honour to confer your degrees and to welcome you to the ranks of Macquarie University alumni. But before that, it's my great pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of University Council, Mr. Kevin Guya Rogers for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, Honoris Causa of Macquarie University. I now invite Professor S. Bruce Doughton, Vice-Chancellor, to read the citation.
I invite Mr. Kevin Guya Rogers to please stand for the citation. Chancellor, Mr. Kevin Guya Rogers is the Bush Professor of the Wayagiba Study Hub in southeast Arnhem Land, a strong cultural leader and Indigenous knowledge holder. Mr. Rogers has dedicated his life to inspiring young Indigenous leaders to pursue knowledge and education and become role models for their community. Mr. Rogers' home is in the Nooka community. He grew up in the Roper River Mission, where as a young boy he was told by his elders to write to the administrator of the Northern Territory, asking him to return their tribal lands at Wayagiba. The administrator hand-delivered his response to a young Mr. Rogers, stating that Wayagiba belonged to the government of the day. It was a move that kick-started the Northern Territory land rights movement that Mr. Rogers is still proud to be a part of today. Mr. Rogers completed high school via correspondence, followed by a Bachelor of Arts degree in education via distance education from Deakin University in the 1980s. He began teaching at Numbulwar School and became principal of Nooka School. He held this position for several years until he returned to his first passion, classroom teaching, which he continued until retirement. During the past 4 decades, Mr. Rogers has worked with his wife, Mrs. Helen Rogers, to strengthen education services in Nooka. He was part of the National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Education Committee, that travelled around Australia in the 1980s to raise awareness and activate Aboriginal higher education opportunities. He has authored several papers on Indigenous education and Aboriginal pedagogy. He is a leader for the South East Arnhem Land and is consulted on a range of important local and Northern Territory issues. He was nominated for a 2021 Northern Territory Seniors Award by the Minister for Aboriginal Affairs. Mr. Rogers was chairman of the local Yuggulmungi Development Aboriginal Corporation, the peak Aboriginal representative body of the Nooka region, until 2018, when he was approached to start a bush university supported by local elders and Macquarie University staff. Today, the study hub at Wayagiba Outstation forms a pathway to university for graduates of its program. Mr. Rogers leads two innovative Aboriginal culture and science-focused units that are accredited by Macquarie University. He shares his cultural knowledge with young people, helping them to become leaders and role models for their community, while they develop academic skills that will support them at university and help them attain tertiary qualifications. The Wayagiba Study Hub has been repeatedly cited in the Australian Government's Closing the Gap report as a local solution to closing the Indigenous higher education gap. The Wayagiba Study Hub has graduated 106 students, and the tertiary education pathway has led to 30 students commencing study here at Macquarie University since its inception, with the first cohort graduating in 2022. Prior to this, the last and only university graduates from the Nooka community were Mr. Rogers himself and his cohort of 6 in the 1980s. Chancellor, I present Mr. Kevin Gayaruyuru Rogers for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, in recognition of his exceptional educational achievements, conducted from within an extremely challenging context of remote Northern Australia. Chancellor.
Mr. Kevin Gayuro Rogers, in the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Rogers. Next, it is my pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of the University Council, Mrs. Helen Gabibi Rogers for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa of Macquarie University. I invite Professor S. Bruce Doughton, Vice-Chancellor, to read the citation.
I invite Mrs. Helen Gabibi Rogers to please stand for the citation. Mrs. Helen Gabibi Rogers has worked over the last 4 decades to strengthen education services in southeastern Arnhem Land. Her quiet commitment, her passion for two-way Aboriginal and Western education for young people and learning on country has made her a respected female role model and profoundly changed the lives of many of her community. Mrs. Rogers is a mother of 6, grandmother of 20, and great-grandmother of 12. She is a Rembargna elder whose consultation is frequently support on important community and development matters. Trained through Bachelor College, Mrs. Rogers taught at Nooka School between 1988 and 2016, focusing on early childhood and middle primary areas. She specialised in literacy and mathematics, and in using her voice to share her culture. She has inspired generations of students with her intellect and contributions to community life. Following her retirement from teaching in 2016, she moved with her husband, Mr. Kevin Rogers, to Wayagiba, which lies in the Gulf of Carpentaria between Nooka and Numbulwar. Since 2018, she has worked with Dr. Rogers to provide higher education through the Wayagiba Study Hub, a bush university developed, as I mentioned earlier, in partnership with Macquarie University. As the female bush professor, Mrs. Rogers helps lead 2 innovative Aboriginal culture and science-focused units that are also accredited through Macquarie University. The South East Arnhem Land Caring for Country and Culture, and a unit on Indigenous science. These 2 units, combined with the 2 additional academic units from Macquarie University, comprise 2 micro-credentials that provide a pathway to university for young people in that region. Mrs. Rogers supports teaching staff from Macquarie while they are at Wayagiba. She meets with the Macquarie staff regularly to continue the development of the study hub, enhance the curriculum, and strengthen the Macquarie University Wayagiba partnership. The Wayagiba Study Hub has graduated 106 students, and tertiary education pathway has led to 30 students initiating here at Macquarie University since 2019. The Wayagiba Study Hub has also been cited, as I mentioned earlier, in the Australian Government's Closing the Gap report as a local solution to closing a 30-year Indigenous higher education gap. Chancellor, I present to you Mrs. Helen Rogers for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, in recognition of her leadership, vision, and partnership with Macquarie University, and her passion for helping young people to cultivate the intellect, academic and leadership skills to become role models themselves. Chancellor.
Mrs. Helen Rogers, in the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Rogers. I now invite Dr. Kevin Rogers and Dr. Helen Rogers to deliver the occasional address for this graduation ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Helen Rogers and Dr. Kevin Rogers.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Macquarie University and clan leaders of the land that we are on. I would like to thank them. And to be here and have this special ceremony for us and the students. And my name is Helen Rogers. I'm 76 years old, and I'm part of the Wanderung speaking country. My home is Nuga community, but I gone back to my tribal country at Wegaba, where we started the Bush Uni there with Macquarie University. And I thank my Honorary, Emily Ann's, and my Abuji, grandmother, who passed away when she approached me and they both asked me to start the Wegaba Study Hub back in 1918. And I said yes. And we started off without any assistance from Yugurmangi Community Corporation. It was a hard task getting stuff to with two ladies and my Honorary. I'd like to say thank you again. And we have two academic teachers that teach there, and me and my wife. And we bring in other elders of the students who come, who enroll themselves, come and study there for 20 weeks. And it's very isolated, but we thank Macquarie University for the assistance of establishing the study hub with dormitories, facilities for the students and staff. And I'd like to say thank you to the students who come, and we always tell them, look, this is a pathway for you to study, go down to uni and do 4 years there, and in what you want to do in life. So it's a really big chance for our young people throughout the territory and the rest of Australia. Yes, and I say thank you again, once again, to the Chancellor. Thank you for helping us to get our young people to come through, to study here and develop find a way. It won't be easy. Nothing is easy. But if you put your heart to it and stick on, you'll come out and you'll achieve what you want to do in life. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Helen Rogers. I'm 69 years of age and my home is Nuka community. But I now live with my husband at Weagiba. That's his homeland, not mine. My personal history is who I am and where I get my identity from, meaning my moiety, my skin name, my tribe, my languages, and my totem. So my culture is everything to me. Being a role model and a leader for my community and people, my life is very important to me. The most important part is being strong, confident, and helping other people by communicating and working together. I believe in myself. I have the knowledge and skills of who I am and understanding of my collaborative and communicative skills. I am passionate about teaching our young people and leading them in the right direction. Also learning about two-way education, Western and cultural. In numeracy and literacy and learning on country. To me, this is very important for me to speak out and use my voice. I did my teacher training through Bachelor College for 4 years. Then I became a qualified teacher. I taught for 30-odd years in Nuka School, teaching in early childhood and middle primary areas. I was also a literacy teacher for 2 years and a math teacher for 2.5 years. I was also a cultural teacher as well. I then retired from teaching and decided to live at Weagiba. We now have the Bush University Weagiba Study Hub happening there. I am teaching again as a cultural teacher with Kevin, my husband. My life and hard work has been strengthened by my people and my community, my children and grandchildren. But when I leave my legacy behind, that will carry on. It is very important to me that the work I am doing and have done in the past will help a lot of people to be independent and lead the way forward. I would like to acknowledge the contributions Macquarie have made since we started the Weagiba Bush University from 2018. Emily and Sue, Dr. Lee and Holt, and Macquarie University team have supported us in developing the hub, developing curriculum and giving our people an opportunity to get a higher education, to build the skill they need to be teachers, nurses, managers, policemen, and other jobs that have been typically held by non-Indigenous people in communities. In 2021 and 2022, we worked with Macquarie to develop and deliver four first-year university units on country at Weagiba, including 2 cultural units, Southeast Animal and Caring for Country and Culture, and Indigenous Science. To our knowledge, this is something that has not been done in Australia before. We have also been developing a textbook for the Southeast Animal and Caring for Country and Culture unit, with the cultural content building a strong platform to bridge traditional knowledge with Western ways since 2018. Over 100 students have completed courses at Weagiba Bush University, from across Arnhem Land in the Northern Territory. 28 students have continued on to live and study at Macquarie University in education, linguistics, Indigenous studies, environmental science, business, social science, media and communications, performing arts, and more. It is not easy transition for our students traveling from the bush to the big city and living away from culture and family. We thank everyone that has helped our students transition to Sydney. Kevin, Annette, Geraldine, and myself would like to thank the countless people who have supported us, the Weagiba Bush Uni program. It is an honor for us to receive our award from Macquarie University. I hope to continue to lead with much pride and inspiration to ensure our way forward for our people. Thank you.
Dr. Rogers and Dr. Rogers, on behalf of everybody here, I really would like to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us and taking time to be part of such an important event. But I particularly want to thank you on behalf of the Australian community for your ongoing commitment to the education of emerging generations. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is again my great pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of the University Council, Sherry Daniels OAM for admission to the posthumous degree of Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa of Macquarie University. This degree will be accepted on her behalf by her daughters, Annette and Geraldine Daniels. I now invite Professor S. Bruce Doughton, Vice-Chancellor, to read the citation.
I now invite Annette and Geraldine Daniels to please stand for the citation. Mrs. Sherry Daniels, OAM, worked not only to empower Aboriginal people, but also non-Aboriginal people to bridge the communication and knowledge gaps between Aboriginal and Western cultures. Mrs. Daniels was an outstanding leader and mentor for thousands of Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people, especially women across the Northern Territory and beyond. Despite experiencing considerable economic and social hardship, growing up in the remote and impoverished town of Nooka, Mrs. Daniels worked tirelessly to promote Aboriginal culture and cross-cultural interaction at a local, national and international level. She created a lasting legacy at Macquarie University as one of the two elders who promoted the vision of the creation of the Wayagiba Study Hub. Mrs. Daniel grew up in the dormitories of the Roper River Mission at Nooka after World War II. She was a leader and the custodian of dwindling culture knowledge. Her husband died young, leaving Mrs. Daniels to raise 5 children alone. Mrs. Daniels also cared for her 23 grandchildren and scores of other local children. Mrs. Daniels' lifetime of dedication and achievements, including teaching at Nooka School and founding Yuggulmungi Women Rangers in the year 2000, one of the most renowned ranger groups in Australia, which she led until her retirement in the year 2010. Mrs. Daniels held both paid and voluntary roles as a cultural advisor for the South East Arnhem Land Indigenous Protected Area and as a women's mentor, including volunteering at a Nooka Women's Safe House for 10 years. As one of the last remaining speakers of Ngandi, Mrs. Daniel worked with local community members and the Nooka Language Centre to maintain this critically endangered language. She was also a cultural leader, actively involved in re-establishing cultural practices and ceremonies in her region, and a motivator to thousands of people during her life. Mrs. Daniels' work to bridge the communication and knowledge gaps between Aboriginal and Western cultures has enabled local development opportunity. With the Women's Rangers Group, she founded providing some of the few culturally meaningful employment opportunities in Nooka. She spearheaded the development of the South East Arnhem Land Indigenous Protected Area, which is the size of Kakadu National Park, and will provide additional employment and cultural maintenance opportunities for Aboriginal people in this very remote region of Australia. In addition to her substantial and highly influential land management work, Mrs. Daniels was an innovator and philosopher with well-known theories about culture, culture maintenance, and cross-cultural research. In the year 2009, she was a founding member of Charles Darwin University's Aboriginal Research Network, which works to redress the lack of Aboriginal involvement in research for Aboriginal people. Mrs. Daniel co-authored book chapters, academic journal articles, university educational materials, and documentaries with non-Indigenous colleagues with whom she maintained long-standing relationships. In 2016, she received an OAM for her life's work and her commitment to her community and Australian cohesion. Chancellor, it is therefore fitting that we recognise Mrs. Sherry Daniels, OAM, posthumously at this ceremony for the award of the degree Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa for her work to empower Aboriginal people and Aboriginal culture and promote cross-cultural interaction at a local, national and international level. Chancellor.
In the name of the Council, and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit Sherry Daniels, OAM, to the degree of Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa. I will now invite Annette and Geraldine Daniels, having received this degree on their mother's behalf, to say a few words.
Sorry. Never been to this sort of event. It's Firstly, I would like to thank the Wallamaragal clan of the Darug Nation for allowing me and my family to come here and accept this award for my mother, Cherry Woolumir Daniels, OAM. My name is Annette Yulumburicha Daniels. I am here with my older sister, Geraldine Mayawa Daniels. My mother had 9 children, 4 boys and 5 girls. And we are only 3 boys and us 2 girls left. It's a privilege for us to receive this honorary doctorate for our mother. I'm sorry. Back at home in our community, Nuka Mukur, in Southeast Arnhem Land, she was a well-respected old lady because of the leadership work she did in both Western and Aboriginal cultures. She was regarded as an expert on giving advice and teaching our ways and explaining it into Western ways. She was leader of cultural ceremonies for women, and now she is being recognized at the highest level in Western culture as well. She was born near the riverbank of Rope River in 1944 after World War II. She grew up in Rope River Mission, now called Nuka. She predicted that she was going to be a teacher, and in the 1980s, she started going to Bachelor College, studying to be a teacher's aide, and then she received her Bachelor of Arts in Education through Deakin University in 1989. In 1990, she became the deputy principal of Nuka Mutju School, and Helen Rogers was the principal. After her youngest daughter passed away in 1993, she started working at the Women's Center, or I should say Cookhouse, and now Women's Center, and became the coordinator. And then in 2001, she and 4 other women from Nuka were invited to go to a women's conference at Kakadu National Park. That's when she formed the Yugulmangi Women's Ranger and started off on foot. They didn't have a truck. They used to push a wheelbarrow around with rake, shovel, and plant different species of trees around the community, planting them. In 2003, because of men's sacred site, she asked some of the men to get involved in the work she was doing to care for our traditional land. She worked with the Northern Land Council and other elders to declare the Southeast Arnhem Land Indigenous Protected Area in 2016. She worked hard to keep her Ngandi language alive since the 1980s. And in 2019, the Ngandi Ngalakan Dictionary book was dedicated to her. In 2015, she worked with Emily Ann's, who was adopted by my mother as a granddaughter, which she called Abuji in our language, and the project was called the Young Bala Project, which means working with young boys and girls, teaching about both ways. The project was supported by the Nature Conservancy and grew into the Bush Uni, also known as the Wagiba Study Hub. Because of all this work and more that I don't have time to tell you about, in 2015, she was awarded the Order of Australia Medal, which you can see her wearing here in this photo on the screen. She was a teacher and a mentor in both cultures. No matter what obstacle she went through, but still went forward and was committed to her work, her country, her culture, her language, and young people, families, and especially women. She fought very hard to bring our both ways culture together. That's why we're here now receiving the special award from Macquarie University. And now, since the Wagiba Study Hub was built in 2018, I am following her footsteps to teach our young people about both ways culture with Mr. Kevin and his wife, Helen Rogers, who I was given to in cultural way, and their daughter, Regina Rogers, was given to my mom and dad. In our culture, that's what they do. We are partnered with Macquarie University to open that pathway to university for our young people once again. Like my mother and old Helen Rogers, they were the last people from my community who graduated from university back in 1980s. That was 35 years ago. This is the gap we're trying to fill. Now, through our work, we have one student graduating this year, and her name is Melissa Uramapa, who I would like to invite on the stage now. She'll be graduating in September. We are very proud of our students who are studying here at Macquarie, and they next leaders of our community. Now, a message to all you new graduates here at Macquarie today. If you are committed and work hard, you can be like my mother and these two old people. Now you have finished your studies, about to go into the big world, wide world, and I encourage you to learn from people from different nationalities with an open heart and a smile on your face. We need to work together as one to make the world a better place for the next generation to come. Thank you for listening to our story. Keep up the good work, and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
Annette and Geraldine, on behalf of everyone here, can I thank you again for the enduring commitment of your family to education of the younger generation, and for sharing those thoughts and reflections on your mother's life with us here today. So thank you very much. Now, as Chancellor of Macquarie University, there are lots of things that one gets to do, but I especially look forward to presiding at ceremonies such as today's and conferring degrees on those who have complied with the university's requirements for such awards. So I'm now going to call on our Acting Registrar, Dr. Leanne Holt, to formally certify the eligibility of those who have met the requirements for these awards.
Chancellor, I certify that all of the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees they are being awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
In the name of the Macquarie University Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees for which you have qualified. Congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. I now call on Professor Chris Dixon, Executive Dean for the Faculty of Arts, to present the graduates. Professor Dixon.
Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Arts. Students and staff from the Faculty of Arts develop a critical, inquiring and curious mind. They work together and across disciplinary boundaries to ask questions about socially complex problems. They identify paths of research, analyse and communicate ideas in creative formats, and reflect on the skills and knowledge they need in order to understand the world, past, present and future. Students are encouraged to use their skills and talents to connect with local and global communities. This faculty includes research and study areas in ancient history, anthropology, education, English, geography and planning, Indigenous studies, international studies, law, media, music, communication and cultural studies, modern history, politics and international relations, philosophy, sociology, and security studies and criminology. Through transformative education, Faculty of Arts graduates are equipped to face social challenges with a deep evaluative mind, strong reasoning, and a well-established ethical compass. They explore their creativity and passions while developing transferable skills like communication, critical thinking, and digital literacy. These are all skills that are extremely sought after by employers. To the graduates, as you reflect on the last few years, I'm sure you can all agree that Macquarie University is home to a wonderful community of people. The relationships and networks you have formed will continue to serve you well into the future as professional contacts, as academic mentors, and as lifelong friendships. Thank you. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Arts whom you have admitted to degrees or awarded diplomas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, with the degree of Bachelor of Education, Primary. Gabriella Kasha. Josie Lang. Rabani Narula. Diana Casenos. Catherine Zuyoglu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with the degree of Bachelor of Education, Primary. Upanika Sardani Artenayaka. Amy Bergasper. Alyssa Lynn Shaw. Henry Dung. Alexandra Drukopoulos. Faith Evans. Julian Grieg. Bui Kim. Hannah Lowe. Adam Lutton. Lisa Liu. Shubnam Nawabi. Natalie Pirang Jali. Sarah Pinto. Ella Riley. Nishita Sarithan. Jack Vandervelde. Benjamin Whitbread. Isabella Jew. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with a degree of Bachelor of Education, Secondary. E Ong. Emily Byrne. Hasiba Aid. Lachlan Higgs. Alan Jarrett. Jacob Litchfield. Françoise Nestor. Tuitian Nui Jan. Liang Supern. Sarah Saliba. Lily Skiru. Dylan Scott. Stuart Taylor. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science with the degree of Bachelor of Education, Secondary. Alexander Ford. Alexandra Story. Ricky Sue. Chiwen Jiang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Ancient History. Sarah Fraser. Samuel Leask, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. Luke Miller. Sierra Vale. Alana White. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Archaeology. Alyssa Cuthbert. Jake Ferguson. Riley Harrison Allen. Olivia Panetta. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Zoe Bacon. Kiera Barron. Emily Berry. Mohammed Bilal. Joshua Byrne. Emily Chan. Edwin Chern. Jonathan Dempsey. Oliver Duggan. Percy Francis, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. Caitlin Frogley. Catherine Hayton. Dimitra Janakis. Savannah Kinchesh. Elizabeth Mitchell. Jade Morecambe. Christina Mustach. Elham Najim. Alexander Priest. Grace Sasaji. Madeline Scott. Andre Ubanu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Education, Early Childhood Education, birth to 12. Lisa Bindabali. Ebony Butcher. Yorn Su Che. Dana Compton. Tonya Forsyth. Emily Green. Matilde James. Emily Mann. Emma Truscott. Divya Upadhyay. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Teaching, birth to 5 years, Jihan Obari. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Teaching, Early Childhood Education, Kate Tang. Taylor Williams. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Disability Studies, Andrea Boulay. Bruna Doro. Melanie Gallagher. Gabriella Gluck. Danielle Hobbs. Shanley Meldrum. Gemma Murphy. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Education, Penelope Radford. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Educational Leadership, Shelley Laycock. Samantha McReady. Melinda Mestra, who has been awarded the Macquarie University Award for Academic Excellence. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Special Education, Amy Neat. Rosemary Raywood. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Teaching, birth to 5 years, Yu Yan Chan. Emma Packer. Yu Mei Jang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Teaching, Secondary, Kirsten Hargraves. Kevin Nguyen. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Graduate Diploma of Inclusive and Special Education, Emily Chan. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Graduate Diploma of Special Education, Jessica Burke. Zoe Brown. Miriam Kalman. Chancellor. A higher degree by research is awarded to a graduate who has successfully completed a program of study in which the defining characteristic is research. Our Master of Research is a 2-year full-time equivalent research training degree consisting of research-based coursework, postgraduate research training and a major research project. Graduates are focused on a specific research topic to produce a thesis of up to 20,000 words in preparation for a doctoral degree. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Research. Nat Abayadi for a thesis entitled Ethnicity in a Cognate, Avar Identity between 570 and 630 AD. Jane Atota for a thesis entitled Exploring Story Park's Design and Use for Documenting Children's Learning, a critical multimodal study of a digital documentation app. Alison Carfey for a thesis entitled Female Agency in the Mycenaean Bronze Age. Trevor Carroll for a thesis entitled Children's Peer Talk in an Early Childhood Centre as a Vehicle for Language Learning. Niamh Del Ferndale for a thesis entitled Harmony and Folklore, the Function of the Forest in Middle Earth. Alison Hawkins Bond for a thesis entitled Reflection to Action, Enablers and Barriers to Teachers of the Deaf Engaging in Reflective Teaching Practices. Oren Sol for a thesis entitled Philosophical Ruler or Pragmatic Emperor, an analysis of Roman Stoicism influence on the policies of Marcus Aurelius. Timothy Steele for a thesis entitled Eating the Tide House, the Impact of Regulatory Change on Tooth and Company 1970 to 1981. The Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to graduates who have demonstrated the capacity to conduct research independently by forming a distinct contribution to the knowledge of the subject and to afford evidence of coherence and originality shown either by the discovery of new facts or by the exercise of independent critical power. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Dr. Noel Clemente, for a thesis entitled The Epistemic Virtues of a Teacher. Dr. Lauren Dundler for a thesis entitled Rethinking Engagement with and Consumption of the Past, an Ethical Framework for the 21st Century Antiquities Market. Dr. Krista Yatsaniak Travagere for a thesis entitled Academics' Perceptions of Peer Review of Teaching, a phenomenologic study. Dr. Louise Cartinch for a thesis entitled Academic Identities of International Students in a Pathway Program, Perceptions of Students and Teachers. Dr. Karen Pack for a thesis entitled Singularly Engaged, How and Why Unmarried Protestant Christian Women in Australia Engaged in Activism Outside the Church in the late 19th to mid-20th century. Dr. Kevin Steed for a thesis entitled Insider Perspectives on Merit Selection, Investigating Principals' Attitudes to Selecting School Teachers on the Basis of Merit. Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Chancellor, I call on Dr. Lauren Dundler, who graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Dr. Lauren Dundler.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates, guests, and Uncle Chris Tobin, who I thank kindly for his welcome to his country. Firstly, I would like to congratulate my fellow graduates on their tremendous accomplishment. To complete a doctoral thesis under normal conditions is a feat in itself. This achievement has been amplified by the recent years of lockdowns and border closures, which have affected our ability to travel for our research and exacerbated mental health pressures experienced by all graduate students. These pressures have not only been experienced by us as individuals, but also by our faculties, our universities, and the academic sector more broadly. And while I'm sure all research disciplines have felt this mounting strain, research and researchers in the humanities and the arts have experienced it compounded with decades of underfunding and undervaluing. This is particularly frustrating because in the COVID-19 and fake news era, we need the humanities more than ever. While our disciplines are diverse in their methodologies and applications, I believe we are united by two key skills: critical thinking and empathy. And those are two things society really needs in order to overcome all of the issues we are facing today. Thus, as humanities researchers, we have a responsibility to ensure our research has impacts not only within academia, but in the development and delivery of policy in Australia and in the wider global context. However, as researchers in the humanities and the arts, we also have a responsibility to contend with the colonial legacies of our disciplines. As an ancient historian and a non-Indigenous person living on stolen land, this has required me to reflect on the harm my discipline has caused to both living and deceased peoples. In recent years, there has been a push to decolonise ancient world studies in academic and collecting institutions alike. And while I can only speak with authority of my own field, I'm aware of the decolonisation movement is far broader and has encompassed the humanities and beyond. This is important work that requires us as early career researchers to reflect on our individual roles and our contributions to our disciplines. It is work which requires deep listening and challenging the Eurocentric ontologies which are germane to humanities research. It is also work that is resource intensive, involving time, money, and space, and thus requiring genuine investment from the broader academic sector. To close, I would like to thank my fellow graduates for sharing the academic journey with me and for joining me on our next phase in our careers. While our paths may not have crossed before this ceremony, I feel a sense of connection to you all because of this experience we have shared together. I congratulate you all again and wish you the very best for your professional and personal lives.
Thank you, Lauren, for sharing those thoughts with us. The Minister for Education was actually on campus yesterday. You missed your opportunity to try out your speech on him, but your points are well made. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
You boy. Dambo Viralgae Wanigae Lambolole Melerajae Oroa Baba Melero Melero Lambolole Dambo Kadua Wanaga Aka ai aka ai aka ai raka Tambo raragae wanigae olaborole umelirangae oroa baba umeliro mele olaborole tambo kadoa raragae wanigae olaborole aka ai aka ai aka ai raka Tambo eralgae wanigae wananigae ulambolole umelirangae oroa papa umelira mele ulambolole ambol ukadoae eralgae wanigae tambol oh aka ai aka ai aka ai oh dambu 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 nanga dambu 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 rarga dambu 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 kalana dambu 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 liwani dambu 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 nanga dambu 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 ande dambu 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 wila dambu 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 nanga dambu 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 waniga dambu 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 kalana dambu 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 ande dambu 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 yanira dambu 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 dambu
Distinguished guests, please join me in expressing our appreciation to our guest dancers and songmen from South East Arnhem Land for sharing their culture with us today. Please also join me in thanking our musicians. Angela Brewer, who opened for us, Heather Mowen Boyd on the organ, and on the trumpet, Ms. Melanie McLaughlin. I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank our representatives from our alumni community, who tirelessly and consistently participate in graduations to help celebrate the occasion and to help us manage the logistics. So To our alumni representatives, thank you very much. Graduates. It's not that many letters different, but it's quite a different feeling, isn't it? Graduates, this ceremony is a rite of passage, but not, I hope, the end of your connection with Macquarie University. You're now part of our family of alumni, a group of more than 200,000 people living in 140 countries. We will keep in touch with you, and hopefully you with us through the alumni program. Make sure you come back to campus when you can, attend alumni events wherever you are, and perhaps undertake more study. Most importantly though, remember the responsibilities that you have now as graduates. Continue the hard work that brought you to this point. Set demanding goals for yourself, goals to better your community, retain your sense of curiosity, and importantly, pursue your dreams. And remember the people who helped you along the way. Some of those are here today, and as is traditional at these ceremonies, I'd like to ask you to stand now and turn to your friends and family who are here and thank them with a round of applause. Now turn to the front and again stay standing because, we do this all the time, catches you all out. With me on the dais today are representatives of our academic staff. These are the people who taught you, who were there for you at those moments when you were wondering, why am I doing this? Can I do it? And I'd ask you to give them a round of applause too in thanks for their contribution. Finally, turn to one another and give yourselves a resounding round of applause because you deserve it. Well done. Please, graduates. Yeah, you can have a hug. You want it now or later? Yeah, group hug. Okay. Please, graduates, be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates of Macquarie University, on behalf of the staff and the faculty and of our continuing students, I again offer you my warmest congratulations. For all of you joining us here today, family and friends, I thank you on behalf of the entire Macquarie community, but in particular on behalf of your graduates. I'm now going to invite our newest graduates and their families and friends to join us through the portico for refreshments. But before I do that, I'd really like to encourage you all to stroll around and enjoy the beautiful campus today and just soak up the atmosphere of where it is your graduates have been. I hope it'll retain a special place in your memories, as I know it will in your memories. I'm now going to ask the audience to stand, please, and to remain standing while the official party and our new graduates depart the hall. Thank you very much.